I pulled up at 6 p.m. and saw my mother crying on the front lawn. Not happy tears, not overwhelmed surprise tears. The kind of crying that comes from being hurt and confused and not understanding why. My father stood next to her, trembling. His hands shook so badly he had to clasp them together just to keep them still. This was supposed to be perfect. I'd spent 4 months planning this moment. The $425,000 seaside mansion behind them, 3 bedrooms, ocean view, hardwood floors, was their 50th anniversary gift. The deed had their names on it. I'd paid cash, furnished it, stocked the fridge, covered the taxes for a year. All they had to do was walk through the door and start living the retirement they'd always dreamed about. Instead, they were standing on the lawn looking traumatized. I killed the engine and ran to them. What happened? What's wrong? Mom couldn't speak. Dad's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. Your sister's inside, he finally said. Okay? She's supposed to be. I invited everyone for the surprise. She moved in. I stared at him. What? Her whole family, suitcases, kids upstairs. Her husband is grilling steaks on the deck like he owns the place. Through the windows, I could see movement. Lights on, TV flickering, my sister's SUV in the driveway next to Rick's sedan. They got here at 2, Mom whispered. 4 hours ago. We showed up at 5:30 like you said, and Rick opened the door with a beer and told us this was his house now. He told you what? He pointed at the door. Dad's voice cracked. Told us to get out. Mom's tears came harder. And she laughed. Your sister stood there and laughed while he did it. Something cold and sharp settled in my chest. Stay here, I'll handle this. Quick context. I made my money young. Tech startup, right timing, equity that actually paid off. Walked away at 32 with $8 million. Not billionaire rich, but comfortable for life rich. My sister took a different path. Married Rick at 24, had 3 kids, became a stay-at-home mom while Rick bounced between sales jobs. They were fine, middle class, 2-car garage, annual Disneyland trip, but not wealthy, and she resented it. I'd see it in small moments. The tight smile when I mentioned a vacation, the pointed comments about some people having it easy, the way she'd go quiet whenever anyone asked what I was up to. Our parents, though, treated us equally. Dad worked construction for 40 years. Mom was a school secretary. They retired 3 years ago with a paid-off house and a modest pension. Small place, built in the 70s, cramped, but theirs. Dad always dreamed of the coast. Someday, he'd say at the beach, when we can afford it. Someday never came. The numbers never worked. So for their 50th anniversary, I decided to give them someday. Found the perfect house 2 hours from the city. Made an offer, closed in 2 weeks, put the deed in their names. Then I planned a family dinner as the reveal. Sent everyone the address with no explanation. Big surprise, be there at 6. My sister texted immediately, what's at this address? You'll see. Is this your house? Just wait. I should have been more specific, because she showed up 4 hours early, saw the Ocean View mansion, assumed it was mine, and apparently decided her family needed it more than I did. By the time my parents arrived at 5:30, my sister and Rick had fully moved in. I walked to the front door and opened it without knocking. Rick was on the couch, beer in hand, barefoot, TV on. My sister stood in the kitchen with a wine glass, wearing that smile she got when she thought she'd figured something out. The kids' toys were scattered across the floor, their suitcases visible in the master bedroom down the hall. The smell of grilling meat drifted in from the deck. They both turned when I entered. My sister's smile faded. Rick stood up slowly. Hey man, we were just… Get out. He blinked. What? Get out. My sister set down her wine glass. Excuse me? This is your house. You bought it without telling anyone, typical you. But we talked it over and we need it more. This isn't my house. Silence. What? She asked carefully. This isn't my house, it's Mom and Dad's. Her face went pale. You're lying. I pulled out my phone, showed her the deed. Property owners. Mom and Dad's full legal names. Purchase date 2 weeks ago. Paid in full. Rick stared at the screen. That's not… You can't. I bought this house for their 50th anniversary. It's their retirement gift. The surprise I told you to come here for. My sister sat down hard on the kitchen stool. You bought them a house? A $425,000 house. All cash. Their names on the deed. And you didn't tell us? It was a surprise for them, not for you. But we're already moved in. Our stuff is here. Then get it out. Rick stepped forward. Come on, man. We're family. Surely we can work something out. Work what out? You moved into my parents' house without permission. Told my 73-year-old father to get out when he showed up. Made my mother cry on the lawn. We didn't know. You didn't ask. We thought it was yours. You're loaded. You don't need a beach house. And that made it okay to just take it? My sister's voice went desperate. We're struggling. 3 kids, 1 income, our rent keeps going up. You have $8 million sitting in investments. You can afford to help family. Help, yes. Let you steal a house I bought for our parents? No. We weren't stealing. You moved in, without permission, without asking. That's stealing. Rick's face flushed red. Family shares. That's what we were taught. Or doesn't that apply when you're rich? It applies when you ask, when you're respectful, when you don't kick out the actual owners. The front door opened. Mom and Dad stepped inside hesitantly, like they weren't sure they were allowed in their own house. I turned to them and held out the deed. Happy 50th anniversary. The house is yours. Dad took the paper with shaking hands. Read it. Looked up with tears in his eyes. You bought us a house? 3 bedrooms, ocean view, walking distance to the beach. Everything's in your names. Taxes paid for the year. Fully furnished. Mom made a small sound and started crying again. This time, happy tears mixed with the hurt ones. Dad pulled me into a hug. He was still trembling, but for different reasons now. Behind me, my sister stood frozen. So we just... What? Leave? Yes. We drove 2 hours, we unpacked. Then pack. Where are we supposed to go? Home. The place you actually live. Rick tried one more time. This is messed up, man. We made a mistake, sure, but kicking us out in front of your parents... I turned to face him fully. You told my 73-year-old father to get out of his own house. You pointed at the door and yelled at him, while my sister laughed. Rick's mouth opened. Nothing came out. So yeah, you're leaving. Now. The next hour was silent except for the sound of suitcases being dragged, toys being collected, groceries being packed back into bags. The kids cried, confused about why they had to leave the fun beach house. My sister tried to soothe them with promises that were already starting to sound hollow. Rick carried boxes to his car with his jaw clenched, refusing to look at anyone. Mom and Dad sat on the deck watching the sunset. The ocean sparkled in the golden light. This was supposed to be their first evening here, peaceful and perfect. Instead, it was tainted by the sounds of my sister's family being forcibly removed. But they'd have plenty of evenings after this one. Hundreds of sunsets, thousands of morning coffees on that deck. Years of the retirement they'd always wanted. My sister and Rick would have the memory of the day they tried to steal it. I stayed inside, making sure they took everything. Every toy, every piece of clothing, every grocery item they'd presumed to put in my parents' fridge. Rick loaded the last box into his trunk. Looked at me like he wanted to say something. Changed his mind. Got in his car and left. My sister was last. She stood at the door, mascara streaked, trying to find words. I'm sorry, she finally said. For what specifically? For assuming. For moving in without asking? For kicking out our parents? For laughing when your husband told Dad to get out? She looked at the floor. You're not sorry. You're embarrassed. There's a difference. That's not fair. You posted about this on Facebook, didn't you? Before you even knew whose house it was? Her eyes went wide. I'll delete it. Too late. 47 people liked it. 23 commented. They all think this is your house. Good luck explaining that. She looked sick. Leave. She did. I locked the door behind her and walked out to the deck. Mom and Dad were holding hands, watching the waves. Is it over? Mom asked quietly. It's over. Dad squeezed my hand. Thank you. For the house, for… He couldn't finish. You don't have to thank me. You spent 40 years working hard and supporting us. This is just paying forward what you gave me. We sat in silence. Comfortable silence. The kind that comes from being with people who actually want you there. The ocean crashed against the shore. Seagulls called overhead. The sun dipped lower, painting everything in shades of gold and orange. This was what I'd wanted, this exact moment, just without the drama that preceded it. But looking at my parents' faces, finally relaxed, finally home, I knew it was worth it. Whatever happened with my sister next would be her problem to solve. Tonight was theirs. What I didn't know until later was exactly what happened during those 4 hours between when my sister arrived and when I showed up. It started at 2 p.m. My sister saw the house first. Ocean view, expensive neighborhood, big windows, wraparound deck. This can't be right, she said, checking her phone. Rick was already out of the car. That's the address. Exactly. They walked to the front windows, peered inside, saw the furnished interior, tasteful, comfortable, empty. This is easily $550, Rick said. Maybe $600 with location. He rented a $600,000 house for one dinner? Or he bought it. My sister pulled out her phone and called me. Whose house is this? You'll find out at 6. Is this your house? I should have said yes or no. Instead, just wait and see. She hung up and turned to Rick. He didn't deny it. So it's his. Has to be. Another grand gesture to remind everyone how successful he is. Rick walked the property, calculating. 600 grand sitting empty while we're struggling with rent increases every year. They stood there in silence. I can picture Rick's brain working, that salesman mentality always looking for angles. What if we stayed here? He finally said. My sister stared. What are you talking about? I mean, if it's his house and he's not using it, family shares. That's what he's always saying, right? Family helps family. Rick, we can't just move into his house. Why not? He's got $8 million in the bank from that tech exit. He's got his city condo. Now apparently this place too. Meanwhile, we're maxed out on credit cards trying to cover basic expenses. That doesn't mean… It means he has options and we don't. 3 kids sharing 2 bedrooms. My commute is killing us in gas money. You've been talking about wanting more space for years. My sister looked at the house, then back at Rick. I know that look. She was being tempted. We could unpack a few things, she said slowly. Make it welcoming for the dinner party. That's just being helpful, right? Rick's face lit up. Exactly. We're setting up for the family gathering, being proactive. And if he sees how perfect we fit here, how much the kids love it, maybe he'd let us stay sometimes, like a timeshare thing. Or more, Rick said. We need it more than he does. That's just facts. He can't argue with that. My sister pulled out her phone, looked at the time. Everyone's not coming until 6. We have 4 hours. Then let's make ourselves at home. They went back to their car and started unloading. Not just a few things for the party. Everything they'd brought for what they'd told the kids was a beach weekend. Suitcases, coolers, toys, clothes, like they'd planned this all along. By 3 p.m., they'd moved in. Suitcases in the master bedroom, kids' toys scattered, groceries in the fridge, pushing aside what I'd stocked for my parents. Rick found the grill, started cooking steaks, opened a beer from the fridge. At 4 p.m., my sister made her fatal mistake. She took a photo. Rick with his beer, ocean background, kids playing, posted it to Facebook. New beach house. Family is everything. Within 20 minutes, 47 likes, 23 comments. OMG, you bought a beach house? Details. So happy for your family. You deserve this. Rick must be doing really well with his job. Congrats. What? This is amazing. When can we visit? Wow, moving up in the world. Good for you guys. My sister read each comment with growing satisfaction, replied to several, Thank you. We're so blessed. The kids are in heaven. New chapter for our family. Feeling so grateful, she let 63 people believe this $600,000 property was hers. Basked in the congratulations. The validation she'd been craving for years while watching my success from the sidelines. Rick saw the post over her shoulder. You told everyone it's ours? I said we have a beach house. We're here, aren't we? But it's not technically. It will be, once everyone understands we need it more. At 5:30, my parents arrived, confused, staring at the house. Dad knocked. Rick answered. Beer in hand, barefoot, barbecue-stained shirt. Come in, my parents stood frozen. We're supposed to meet our son here? Yeah, he's not here yet. Come in. My sister appeared, wine glass in hand. Mom, Dad, come in. They stepped inside carefully. Sweetie, Mom said, whose house is this? Surprise, we're moving in. Silence. But whose house? Family stuff. But we're going to be living here now. Rick put his arm around my sister. Your son really came through. Dad's expression changed. You can't just move into someone's house. Family shares, Rick said, tone shifting. We're struggling. 3 kids, 1 income. Your son has millions. He can afford to help. We should wait outside, Mom said, voice trembling. No, we're having dinner. My parents backed toward the door. Rick stepped between them and the exit. You're not leaving. We're going to have a civilized conversation about how this works. Dad stopped. Step aside. Or what? This is my house now anyway. Rick pointed at the door. Get out. Mom started crying. Dad's hands started shaking. My sister laughed. Not nervous, genuinely amused. Dad, relax, we're staying, but you can visit. I want to leave, Mom whispered. They walked out. That's when I arrived. Saw them on the lawn, walked inside and destroyed everything. After I kicked them out, after they packed in humiliated silence, the real fallout began. The Facebook post stayed up for 3 hours. By then, 63 likes, 37 comments. All congratulating my sister on her beach house. Then the questions started. My cousin Jennifer. Wait, I thought this dinner was for your parents' anniversary. Whose house is this exactly? My Aunt Linda. I'm confused. Did you and Rick buy a house or is this your brother's place? Someone from my sister's high school. Hold on. Your brother bought your parents a house and you're living in it? Another comment. This caption is misleading. You said, new beach house like it was yours. The questions piled up. My sister watched in real time as her story unraveled publicly. She deleted the post at 9 p.m., then made it worse by posting an explanation. Sorry for any confusion earlier. Was just super excited about family gathering at parents' new home. Jumped the gun on sharing. So happy for Mom and Dad and their beautiful retirement gift. The comments on that post were brutal. So it's not your house? Why'd you post like it was? New beach house and family is everything made it sound like you bought it. This is so embarrassing. You should have just left it deleted. Girl, this whole thing is weird. My college roommate. I'm really confused by this whole situation. Someone else. Did you move into your parents' gift from your brother? What's happening here? She deleted that post too. Went silent online. A week later, Rick texted. You humiliated us. I waited an hour. You humiliated yourselves. We made a mistake. We thought it was yours. And moved in without asking. Family shares. Family asks first. You're rich. We're struggling. I helped our parents, the people who deserved help. Long pause. Then, you always thought you were better than us. No, I thought I was different. I was right. I blocked him. My sister tried calling from different numbers. Left voicemails that started apologetic, ended defensive. First voicemail, day 3. Hey, it's me. I know you're mad. I'm sorry we assumed. But you have to understand our position. 3 kids, Rick's job situation, we're barely making it. When we saw the house, we thought maybe you'd understand. Call me back, please. Second voicemail, day 5. Okay, so you're really not going to talk to me? That's mature. Look, maybe if you'd been clearer about whose house it was, this wouldn't have happened. You were so secretive about the whole thing. How are we supposed to know? Third voicemail, week 2. You know what? This is ridiculous. We're family. Doesn't that mean something to you anymore? Or does your money mean more than your own sister? Mom's upset. Dad won't talk to Rick. The kids ask why Uncle won't answer our calls. You're tearing this family apart over a misunderstanding. I saved every voicemail. Never responded to a single one. She texted Mom, asking her to make me forgive her. Mom's response: he gave us a house. You tried to take it. Figure it out yourself. My mother had never been that blunt with my sister. Ever. Dad refused to talk to Rick at all. Told my sister he'd forgive her after she apologized to me. She never did. The Facebook thing haunted her for months. People who'd seen the original post brought it up at family gatherings. What happened with that beach house thing? My sister would go pale, mumble something vague, change the subject. Her friends stopped engaging. Comments dried up. That social validation she'd relied on just evaporated. She went quiet online. No more humble bragging. Just occasional photos of her kids, carefully cropped to show nothing about where they lived. The entitlement had been publicly exposed, and there's no coming back from that. But that wasn't the end of the story. 6 months later, Christmas was coming. And my mother made a decision that would change everything again. 6 months passed in silence. I didn't reach out. They didn't reach out. The family split cleanly down the middle. My parents on one side, my sister and Rick on the other, and me in the carefully maintained neutral zone of not caring anymore. My parents settled into their beach house like they'd lived there forever. Mom sent me photos every week, coffee on the deck at sunrise. Dad reading the paper in his favorite chair. Their evening walks on the beach, hand in hand like newlyweds. We can't thank you enough, Mom would text. This is everything we dreamed of. They'd sold their old house within a month, used the money to pad their retirement fund, take a cruise to Alaska they'd always wanted. For the first time in their lives, they weren't worried about money or space or whether they could afford to fix the water heater. They were just living. Meanwhile, my sister's Facebook stayed silent. No posts, no photos, just the occasional like on someone else's content. The woman who'd documented every meal, every family outing, every minor achievement had gone dark. I didn't miss her posts, but I noticed the absence. November rolled around. Thanksgiving came and went. I spent it with friends in the city. My parents had a quiet dinner for 2 on their deck. No family drama, no forced conversations, just peace. Then, in early December, my phone rang. Mom. Hi, honey, how are you? Good, busy with work. You? We're wonderful. The house is even better in winter. Watching storm clouds roll in over the ocean is just magical. I smiled. I'm glad you're happy. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about Christmas. My stomach tightened. I knew where this was going. We're having dinner here, Christmas Eve, just family. And I want you to come. Of course, I'll be there. Your sister's coming too. Silence. I know, Mom said quickly. I know it's complicated, but it's Christmas, and I miss having both my children together. Does she want me there? She hasn't said she doesn't. She's been quiet, withdrawn. I think she's ashamed. Good. She should be. Honey, Mom, she tried to steal the house I bought you. Her husband told Dad to get out. She laughed about it. And then she spent weeks trying to justify it instead of actually apologizing. I know, and your father and I haven't forgotten. But it's been 6 months. Maybe it's time to see if we can start healing. I let out a long breath. Is Rick coming? No. Your father was very clear about that. Rick is not welcome in this house. Not now, maybe not ever. And she's okay with that? She doesn't have a choice. It's our house, our rules. If she wants to see us, she comes alone. That surprised me. My mother had spent my entire life making excuses for my sister, smoothing over conflicts, asking everyone else to be understanding. Drawing a line this firm was new. What changed? I asked. Mom was quiet for a moment. That day. Seeing your father shake like that, seeing him hurt, and then realizing how long we'd been excusing her behavior at everyone else's expense, especially yours. Mom, no, let me finish. You gave us this beautiful gift. This house, this life, this peace, and she tried to take it. Not just from us, but from you, from your generosity. And I'm done pretending that's okay just to keep the peace. I felt something shift in my chest. Validation, maybe. Or just relief that I wasn't crazy for being angry. But she's still my daughter, Mom continued, and I'd like to try to find a way forward. With boundaries, with consequences, but forward. What does Dad think? He agrees. But he wants to hear a real apology from her first. Not excuses, not justifications, just, I'm sorry and I was wrong. Has she given one? Not yet. That's why Christmas dinner might be tense. I almost laughed. Tense is one word for it. Will you come, please? I'm not asking you to forgive her, just to be there. For me and your father. I thought about it. Weighed my anger against my love for my parents. My need for boundaries against their need for family. I'll come, I finally said. But I'm not promising anything beyond showing up. That's all I'm asking. Christmas Eve arrived cold and clear. I drove the 2 hours to the coast, watching the landscape shift from city to suburbs to small towns to stretches of empty highway bordered by pine trees. I pulled up to the beach house at 4 p.m. My sister's car was already there, parked at the far end of the driveway like she was trying to take up as little space as possible. I sat in my car for a minute, steeling myself. Through the windows, I could see movement. Mom in the kitchen. Dad setting the table. My sister sitting on the couch, alone, looking small. I grabbed the wine I'd brought and walked inside. There he is, Dad said, pulling me into a hug. He looked good, healthy, relaxed in a way I'd never seen him during his working years. Mom hugged me next, holding on a little longer than usual. Thank you for coming. My sister stood up from the couch. We made eye contact across the room. She looked different. Tired. Thinner. The confidence she'd always carried like armor was gone, replaced by something that looked like exhaustion. Hi, she said quietly. Hi. Awkward silence. Mom jumped in. Dinner's almost ready. Why don't you all sit down? I'll bring everything out. We moved to the table. Dad at the head, Mom to his right. I sat to his left. My sister sat at the far end, as far from everyone as she could get while still technically being at the table. The meal was good. Mom's roast chicken, garlic potatoes, green beans, fresh bread from the bakery in town. We ate mostly in silence, just the sounds of silverware on plates and polite requests to pass things. Finally, Dad set down his fork. So, we're all here. Let's address the elephant in the room. My sister looked up, eyes already watering. 6 months ago, Dad continued, you and your husband tried to take over this house. My house. The gift your brother gave your mother and me for our anniversary. You moved in without permission, and when we showed up, Rick told us to leave. My sister's tears started falling. Dad, let me finish. You laughed when he did it. You stood there and laughed while your husband disrespected me in my own home. And then you spent weeks trying to justify it instead of apologizing. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm not done. Your brother worked hard for his money. He chose to spend it on giving us something we'd always dreamed of. And you decided you deserved it more, that your struggles mattered more than his generosity or our happiness. I was wrong, my sister said, voice breaking. I was so wrong. Yes, you were. She looked at me then, really looked at me. I'm sorry. Not just for that day, but for everything. For resenting your success. For assuming you owed me something. For letting Rick convince me we had any right to that house. For laughing when I should have stopped him. For all of it. The words came out raw, unpolished. Not the careful justifications from her voicemails. Just plain, painful truth. I've been jealous of you for years, she continued. Since you sold your company, maybe before that. And instead of being happy for you, I turned it into something you owed me. Like your success was somehow taking from my life instead of just being separate from it. She wiped her eyes with her napkin. I posted that Facebook thing because I wanted people to think we'd made it, that we were successful too. And when it all fell apart, I blamed you for embarrassing me instead of taking responsibility for embarrassing myself. Mom was crying quietly. Dad's expression hadn't changed. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to accept the apology, move on, rebuild. Part of me was still angry, still hurt. "Where's Rick?" I asked. "Home, with the kids." "Does he know you're here?" "Yes." "Is he sorry?" My sister looked down. "He says he is. But I don't know if he means it or if he's just sorry things didn't work out the way he wanted." Honest answer. "He's not welcome here," Dad said firmly. "Not until he can apologize directly and mean it. And even then, it'll be a long time before I can be in the same room with him." My sister nodded. "I understand." We sat in heavy silence. The ocean crashed outside, rhythmic and indifferent to family drama. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," my sister said, looking at me. "I know I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know I finally understand what I did. And I'm sorry." I looked at her. Really looked. Saw the exhaustion, the shame, the genuine remorse that had taken 6 months to surface. "Okay," I said. "Okay? I hear you. I appreciate the apology. I'm not ready to forget what happened, but I hear you." She nodded, fresh tears falling. "That's more than I deserve." After dinner, I helped Mom clean up while Dad and my sister sat on the deck talking quietly. Through the window, I watched him gesture at the ocean, at the house, explaining something. She listened, nodding, wiping her eyes occasionally. "How are they really doing?" I asked Mom quietly. "Her and Rick?" Mom sighed. "Not well. Rick lost his job 3 months ago. They're behind on rent again. Your sister's been applying for part-time work, but with 3 kids and no childcare, it's difficult." "And she's still married to him?" "For now. I think she's starting to see him differently. What happened here showed her a side of him she'd been ignoring. The entitlement. The willingness to hurt others to get what he wants. Will they make it? I don't know. I hope so, for the kids' sake, but I'm not optimistic." We finished the dishes in silence. I looked around the kitchen, my parents' kitchen, in their house, in the life I'd given them. "Are you happy here?" I asked. Mom smiled, the real kind that reaches the eyes. "Every single day. Your father and I take morning walks on the beach. We've made friends with neighbors. We're actually living instead of just surviving." "Good. That's what I wanted." She hugged me. "You gave us more than a house. You gave us peace. Don't ever think it wasn't worth it, even with all the drama." I left around 8. My sister was still there, talking with Dad on the deck. She looked up as I walked to my car. "Thank you," she called out, "for coming, for listening." I nodded. Didn't say anything else. Drove home through the dark, Christmas lights blinking in small-town windows, feeling something I couldn't quite name. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe the beginning of letting go. My phone buzzed at a red light. Text from Dad. "Thank you for giving her a chance to apologize properly. And thank you for this house, this life. We love you." I smiled and kept driving. 2 years later, I'm sitting on my parents' deck on a Tuesday morning in June, drinking coffee and watching pelicans dive for fish. The ocean is calm today, that deep blue-green that makes you understand why people spend their whole lives chasing this view. My parents are inside, making breakfast. I can hear them through the open door, Mom humming something, Dad making a joke about burning the toast again. They sound happy. Actually, genuinely happy in a way I never heard during those 40 years of construction work and school secretary paychecks. This is their life now, every single day. They wake up at 6 and take a 2-mile walk on the beach. Come home, make breakfast together, read the paper on the deck. Dad's taken up woodworking in the garage, builds little boats that he gives to neighbor kids. Mom volunteers at the local library, leads a book club, has actual friends she has lunch with. They've lived here full-time for 2 years and 4 months. Haven't regretted a single day. Last month, Dad tried to write me a check for the property taxes. I tore it up. "It's your house," I told him. "I'm not taking money for your own house." You gave us too much, he said quietly. We can't ever repay this. I don't want repayment. I want you to enjoy it. That's the payment. He hugged me then, the way fathers do when words aren't enough. My sister and I are cordial. That's the word I'd use. Cordial. Polite. Distant. We exchange Christmas cards. I send birthday presents to her kids. She texts me, congratulations when I buy a new condo in the city. Surface-level family relationship, the kind where everyone's just managing the aftermath of something that broke too badly to fully repair. We see each other twice a year, maybe 3 times. Always at my parents' house, never at hers. Always with other people around as buffer. We talk about safe topics, the kids' school, the weather, mom's book club drama. We don't talk about the beach house. We don't talk about that day. We don't talk about Rick. Rick. Rick never apologized. Not to my parents, not to me. 2 years later and he's still bitter about it. Still convinced he was justified. Still telling anyone who'll listen that I'm selfish with my money, that family should help family, that I could have set them up if I wasn't so concerned with making a point. My sister stopped defending him about a year ago, stopped making excuses for his attitude. But she's still married to him, still living in that same cramped house with the kids sharing bedrooms and the rent that keeps climbing. They're still struggling. Rick's had 4 jobs in 2 years, keeps getting let go or quitting because he doesn't feel valued. My sister works part-time at Target, which helps but isn't enough. Last Christmas, she showed up at the beach house looking exhausted, thinner than she should be. When Mom asked if everything was okay, she just smiled that tight smile and said they were managing. They're not managing. They're drowning. And Rick's pride won't let him ask for help, not from family, not from anyone, because asking would mean admitting he's not the success story he tells himself he is. I don't feel bad about it. Maybe I should. Maybe a better person would feel guilty, would offer some kind of financial help with strings attached, would try to rescue them from their situation. But I remember Rick pointing at the door. Remember my sister's laugh. Remember the Facebook post and the entitlement and the weeks of justifications before she finally apologized. So no, I don't feel bad. They made their choices. I made mine. We all live with the consequences. My parents ask about them sometimes, carefully, like they're worried about reopening wounds. Have you talked to your sister lately? Last week, she sent me a photo of the kids at their soccer game. That's good? That's nice? Silence. She's having a hard time, you know, with Rick, with money. I know, Mom. I'm not asking you to help them. I'm just saying it's hard. Life is hard, especially when you make it harder by acting entitled and refusing to take responsibility. Mom sighs. She knows I'm right, knows my sister created this situation by trying to take what wasn't hers. But maternal instinct doesn't turn off just because your daughter screwed up. She's learned her lesson, Mom says quietly. I think she really has. Good. Lessons are important. And that's where we leave it. Dad's handling it differently. He talks to my sister, has a relationship with the grandkids, but there's a distance there that wasn't before. A respect that had to be rebuilt from scratch and is still under construction. With Rick, though, there's nothing. Complete cutoff. Dad won't be in the same room with him. When the grandkids visit, my sister comes alone or they meet at neutral locations. He could apologize, Dad told me once. He could admit he was wrong, show some actual remorse. But his pride won't let him. And I've got no time for a man who values his pride over his family. Rick's own parents stopped talking to him about it too. They'd heard the story, seen the Facebook thing, understood what their son had done. His mother sent my parents a card apologizing for how we raised him. It was awkward, but appreciated. As for me, I'm good. Actually good, not just saying it to avoid questions good. Business is thriving. I've made some smart investments, started consulting for startups, built a life that doesn't require my family's approval or validation. I date occasionally. Nothing serious yet, but I'm not in a rush. I've got good friends, a nice place in the city, enough money to be comfortable without being stupid about it. And I've got this. Tuesday mornings on my parents' deck, watching the ocean, listening to them be happy. That's worth more than any relationship I've lost or any bridge I've burned. Breakfast, Mom calls from inside. I walk in. Dad's setting plates on the table. Scrambled eggs, bacon, toast that's only slightly burned. Mom pours orange juice into mismatched glasses they bought at an estate sale in town. We sit. We eat. We talk about nothing important. Dad mentions he's building a bookshelf for the neighbor's daughter. Mom's book club is reading something about bees. I tell them about a project at work that's going well. It's normal, comfortable. The kind of family moment I never really had growing up because we were always stressed about money or dealing with some crisis or walking on eggshells around hurt feelings. After breakfast, I help clean up. Dad heads to the garage to work on his project. Mom goes to the deck with her book. I join her. Sit in the chair I've claimed as mine during visits. Thank you again, she says quietly, for all of this. You've thanked me 1,000 times, Mom. I'll thank you 1,000 more. This house, this life, you gave us something we thought we'd never have. You gave me something too. You worked for 40 years to support us. This is just paying it back. She reaches over and squeezes my hand. We sit in silence, watching the ocean. A couple walks by on the beach below, golden retriever running ahead of them. The sun climbs higher, warming the deck. This is the moment I was trying to create. The retirement my parents deserved, the peace they'd earned. And my sister tried to take it. I don't think about her often anymore. Don't check her Facebook to see if she's posted anything. Don't wonder if she's forgiven herself yet. She made her choice when she laughed at our father being told to leave his own house. I made mine when I gave that house to him in the first place. We're both living with the results. That evening, I'm packing up to head back to the city. Dad walks me to my car. Drive safe. Text when you get home. I will. And son? Yeah? I know things aren't perfect with your sister. I know they may never be. But I want you to know I'm proud of you. Not just for the house, but for standing your ground. For not letting her guilt you into thinking you were wrong. I nod. Thanks, Dad. You taught me something that day. About boundaries. About not enabling people just because you love them. Your mother and I spent too many years making excuses for your sister, always smoothing things over, always asking you to be the bigger person. It's okay. It's not okay. We failed you in that way. But you didn't fail us. You gave us this beautiful gift, and when someone tried to take it, you protected it. Protected us. That's what family is supposed to do. He hugs me. I hug him back. Drive home with the windows down and the radio up, feeling lighter than I have in years. 6 months after that visit, my sister sends me a text. Just one line. Thank you for not giving up on Mom and Dad. Even when you gave up on me. I stare at it for a long time. Finally type back, I didn't give up on you. I just stopped letting you take from me. She doesn't respond. But 3 weeks later, I get a Christmas card. Her, the kids, no Rick in the photo. On the inside, she's written, we're separated, filing for divorce in January. The kids and I are moving closer to Mom and Dad, starting over. Hope you're well. I text Mom. Did you know about the separation? Yes, she told us last week. Rick's not handling it well, but it's for the best. She's finally prioritizing the kids over his ego. Good. Does this change anything between you two? I think about it. Really think about it. Maybe eventually, but not yet. That's fair. And it is fair. Because forgiveness isn't automatic. Rebuilding trust takes time, and some damage runs too deep to ever fully repair. But maybe, someday, we'll get to Cordial Plus. That's enough for now. My parents just celebrated their 52nd anniversary. They had dinner on the deck, just the two of them, watching the sunset paint the ocean in shades of gold and pink. Mom sent me a photo. Dad raising a glass, her smiling beside him. The house I bought them framing the moment perfectly. The caption, living the dream. Thank you for making it real. I saved that photo, printed it out, put it on my desk at home. Because that's the whole point, isn't it? Not the money I spent, Not the drama with my sister, not the lesson about entitlement or boundaries or consequences. The point is, two people who worked their whole lives finally getting to rest, getting to be happy, getting to wake up every morning and choose joy instead of survival. My sister tried to take that. I made sure she didn't. And every time I see that photo, Dad's smile, Mom's eyes, the ocean behind them, the peace they've earned, I know I made the right choice. Family isn't about taking what you need from people who have more. It's about respecting what they've built, honoring what they've given you, and protecting what they deserve. My parents deserved that house. My sister didn't. And 2 years later, I still don't regret drawing that line.